Why, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Pixar Tea Astrology. I'm your host, Pix, and today I'm going to be discussing what to expect for the Mercury Retrograde coming up on August 23rd through September 15th, and it's going to be happening in Virgo from 21 degrees Virgo to 8 degrees Virgo. So I'll be deep diving into each horoscope for each of the signs so you can know how the Mercury Retrograde is going to affect you. I'll be sharing some tips on how to make the most of this retrograde. And before I get started, I want to remind you all about my fellowship, which is a monthly or weekly horoscope membership. You can check the link in the description to get more information. I do weekly personalized horoscopes and monthly personalized horoscopes that are emailed straight to your inbox. There's also the 9th House Discord server, which you are welcome to join for free. We discuss astrology, we discuss tarot, current events, and the community is really fun. I also do one-on-one consultations for those of you who want some deep dive into your personal natal chart and some timing maybe for what's going on in your life. I book consultations on my website. You can find the link in the description. So, before I get into the horoscopes, I'm going to answer a few questions about Mercury retrograde and retrogrades in general that I get often. I asked my Discord server if they had any questions, and I had a few questions just sitting in my inbox on Instagram. So I'm just going to answer them here because I'm sure a lot of us have the same questions. But before I get into the Q&A, I want to discuss some current events. If you want to skip the Q&A and you don't want to hear about current events, of course, you can jump straight to your sign by checking the timestamps in the description. So let's talk about some updates. As you can see, I am in a new area. The walls are bare. I'm still working on it. We're furnishing it. So since this is so new, please forgive any sound or quality issues that you're getting from this. Please forgive me. I'm being very hard on myself about it. I do not like the lighting, but you got to try the first thing, like to close the gap. What other things have been happening with Venus retrograde though? I've been feeling it a lot with my content, a lot with my work. But what about all these scandals? Like, enough about me. Let's talk about the scandals that are happening with celebrities and in the news. I just thought of just a few off the top of my head that are happening right now. We have the Ariana Grande scandal. If you don't know, she left her husband for a married guy who is now leaving his wife. Carly Kloss and Taylor Swift reuniting possibly. And yes, I am of the camp to think they were a thing. Doja Cat doing whatever she fucking does, right? She wants out of her contract, but she's been just talking about how much she doesn't like her fans, pretty much. That's some Venus retrograde shit. The Miranda Lambert thing, which is kind of minor compared to all these other things I'm mentioning, but Miranda Lambert got called out for calling people out in her audience who were taking pictures. She's stopped the show and started the song over and told them to sit the fuck down. And this brought out a bunch of other stories about how she was shitty. And I'm bringing this up because I loved her, okay? And I made a TikTok about this, but this is her tattoo, okay? So I was a stan. Never get a tattoo of your artist of your favorite artist because they will disappoint you. I'm going to get RIP right here. But yeah, I digress. What about Jason Aldean too? That's another one. His Try That in a Small Town song that is clearly racist. Lots of dog whistles in that song, and got called out for it. And started backpedaling on the music video, which has a bunch of scandal too. But that's just a few celebrities off the top of my head. There's probably some I'm missing. Please let me know because I love the tea. So back to me. What have I been doing with my time though, besides studio furnishing? And I have a bunch of stuff for the walls, y'all, but I'm so indecisive about where things will go. So nothing. So we have nothing, but we'll get there. I, unlike most people, have not seen Barbie or Oppenheimer, which I know that was the Venus retrograde event, the thing to do. But I did see Talk to Me, which is a horror movie, and that was a ride. I'll just say that was a ride. You got to see it. You eventually, if you're into horror, you got to see that movie. Speaking of movies, A24 movies, I watched Tusk recently. Have any of you seen Tusk? This is the worst A24 movie, and if you like bad movies, you have to see it. Just to know, you know? And I saw The Room recently, which is what The Disaster Artist was made after, and I was screaming at my TV the whole fucking time during this movie. I can't believe it happened. I can't believe people let it happen. Where did he get his money? I have so many questions, but if you're a film buff, let's talk about that, because it was upsetting. What else have I been watching? I've been watching The Bachelorette. Has anyone else been watching The Bachelorette? And I've been watching Too Hot to Handle. And honestly, this has been the most boring season for both of them. For a Venus retrograde too. Where's the drama? Where's the drama? The Bachelorette, she is amazing. I love her. Charity's awesome. And the dudes are just the dudes. You know what I mean? The dudes are so boring. And I'm just thankful that she's a psychologist or something like that, because she's handling this all perfectly, which is making it boring. And Too Hot to Handle. This is the most boring season of Too Hot to Handle also. It's all about that one couple. Anyways, I've also been watching for the first time, so some anime, okay? For the first time, I'm watching Dragon Ball, which is before Dragon Ball Z, when Goku's a kid. And it's been a classic, nice 80s anime, but there's so much Goku peeing. You see his penis once an episode. Why are we drawing this? What is going on? Why? Call me... I'm not modest. I don't know. But why are we seeing Goku peeing so much? I've seen his wiener so much. Unnecessary. I've also been watching Castlevania, which has been really good. Loving it. And I've been watching My Happy Marriage, which I'm not as sold on yet. I love the animation. It's really pretty, and I love some of the characters, but bear with me. The main girl, her voice kind of bugs me. It kind of grates on me. I don't know how else to say it. We need some variety. It's always just sad and cringy to me. But the new episode just came out, so I have to watch that. Other than watching a bunch of content, a bunch of movies and shows, which is very Venus retrograde, I have also been playing video games. And if you follow me on Instagram and watch my stories, you may know that I'm a tad bit obsessed with the main character of Final Fantasy XVI, Clive Rosfield. And he is my background on my phone. He's my background on all my computers. Yeah, I like looking at him. I finished the game and I needed time to recover, honestly. But luckily, literally a week later than when I finished the game, Baldur's Gate 3 came out. It's very interesting. There's so many playthroughs you can do. You can multiplayer. That's what I've been doing. So there's been a lot of interesting content coming out for Venus retrograde. I mentioned Colleen Ballinger, of course, right? And Trisha. Okay, too many things at once. I recently got into H3, the podcast, and I have many things to say about the show, but it introduced me to Trisha. And I knew about her, but I didn't know her that much. I started watching this deep dive on frenemies, and Trisha's fucking cool. She has grown a lot, I should say. And you know what? I'm just going to say it. I think Ethan and Trisha love each other. They'll never admit it. They'll never be able to admit it, but they are in love, okay? And if I could pull up pieces of the show to show you without getting in trouble, I don't know, maybe I won't get in trouble. Here is an example, okay? Look at this TikTok. Look at this TikTok.
Tater tots, butter.
Oh, well, that was more for you.
Why?
They're
Because I wanted
flirting,
to,
dude.
make girl peace
They
this episode.
clearly
I thought
love
that was
each
fun,
other.
but-
You posted this as a weird subliminal way of communicating with me?
Yeah.
Speaking of TikTok, have you guys been seeing this AI NPC thing? It's unhinged. Look at these screenshots I've got. Look at these screenshots. What is this? Squidward? Victorian child? I love it. Honestly, I love it. I hate it and I love it. That's just how it is. Anyway, I'd like to get into more of this and just chat with you all and just keep chatting, but we have horoscopes to do and a Q&A that I promised, which has a few very interesting questions. So, let's see. First question. Mercury will be almost conjunct my midheaven, minus 27 degrees, when it goes retrograde. What might this mean for the way one would present themselves, or what changes would be expected? So I'm going to just extend this question into what if Mercury retrograde is conjoined one of the angles. The angles are the ascendant, the descendant, the MC, and the IC. The AC, DC, IC, MC. When Mercury stations at one of these points, one of the angles, it definitely takes on a stronger, greater significance for a couple of reasons. First of all, the angles are the core life areas in your chart: the self, others, career, and home. So a planet stationing there, resonates with foundational core aspects of your life. Planets on the angles also are said to operate more openly and evidently, like they manifest their qualities more clearly in your daily life. So the angles are like PowerPoints in your chart. So when they get activated by a planet, they definitely bring significant situations that come up. So I'm going to talk about what you can expect from Mercury conjoining each of these angles. I'm going to go as fast as I can. If Mercury is retrograding, or stationing, I should say, conjoined your midheaven, this brings up a career or image impact. The MC is tied to your reputation, and Mercury's retrograde highlights that. Also, extra communication challenges for you because, especially with professional settings, having to reorganize or redo or dial in and set up situations professionally, causing delays, causing confusion. Not that you're going to be stuck in delays and confusion, but that you will be maneuvering them with a retrograde. It also brings a reevaluation of career goals. It's a good time to reassess your career and your public image and what roles you take on. It also can bring increased public attention or public scrutiny. So more people might be watching your public statements, or more people might be watching you than you are used to. Also, opportunities for technology and travel, especially some delays or just busyness with it. A lot of technology, a lot of travel. It's also just like the typical Mercury retrograde problems affecting your professional life more than other parts of your life. It can also bring old colleagues or past opportunities into your daily sphere. Old colleagues, old job opportunities might come back into focus. And I recommend, while Mercury is retrograde here, that you focus on detail and you focus on preparation. Make sure that contracts or agreements are very clear to help prevent setbacks, because Mercury will set us back. So those are some examples of what you can expect with Mercury retrograding on your midheaven, or stationing, I should say. Not necessarily retrograde, it could be stationing to go direct also. If Mercury is stationing near your IC, this impacts your home and your family life. So this brings more of a focus into your personal and private matters, the opposite of professional, tied to your home and your family and your roots. It can also bring communication challenges within these areas with your family. You can expect misunderstandings, and again, delays and confusion. Also, reevaluating your familial goals, your family goals, your home goals. It's a good time to reassess relationships in your family if you've been dealing with people, for lack of a better term. There's also a potential for emotional sensitivity, because the fourth house is our emotional foundation also. So you might feel more sensitive, more reactive. You might be revisiting old family problems, previous home issues. Maybe if It could be as simple as the toilet that always got clogged, and you have to deal with that again. Old issues back from the past. Also, connecting deeper with your ancestry or your roots, maybe getting a wild hair to join ancestry.com or to to call Great Aunt Martha or something like that and see what she's up to. But overall, there's more focus on home environment and comfort. So you might just be reevaluating what makes you feel at home and safe and secure. So moving on, if Mercury is stationing on your descendant, this impacts your relationships and your partnerships. So there's a spotlight here. This could bring communication challenges with partners. It could bring reevaluating your partnerships in general, and this could be a bestie, this could be a lover, this could be a marriage, this could be your partner in crime, like the one other person that you're always talking to or always hanging out with. It could be your mom even though that's normally fourth house. Some of us have that connection with our moms. So reevaluating relationships, even with clients, and how you interact with them. And definitely potential sensitivities happening with these miscommunications. Sensitivity comes up. But this all brings growth, of course. Mercury retrogrades are the easiest retrogrades, okay? This is easy stuff. It's inconvenient. I'll give you that. But Mercury is quick and I don't want to say painless, but it's like ripping the Band-Aid off kind of pain where it's annoying and it still hurts, but it doesn't last. Revisiting past relationship issues. Focusing more on other people's needs could be, for better or worse, could be a Mercury stationing on your descendant. And then connecting with past partners, exes coming up, ex-best friends coming up, or old agreements coming back up to be reviewed, and some focus on negotiations and agreements. Seventh house is about that kind of thing. So you might be reevaluating your negotiations that you've had in certain situations. So lastly, when Mercury stations conjoined your ascendant, this impacts your self-image. This is the strongest. They're all strong. All four of them are really strong. But the first house is loudest because it's happening to you. It's emphasizing your personal identity. It's brings in communication challenges just like it does with the descendant. But it's more of a reevaluation of your own personal goals and benchmarking situations and deciding which way you want to move next. Crossroads. And also, this reevaluation brings up changing how you present yourself, changing things on your to-do list. Retrogrades are about reflection. So when it happens on your ascendant, it brings up more self-awareness. And again, changing your appearance is supported in this house. I know that some astrologers like to say that you shouldn't get a haircut, you shouldn't dye your hair, you shouldn't make any cosmetic changes while planets are retrograde. I disagree. It depends, but I overall disagree. I think that retrogrades are a fine time to change your appearance because you can always fix it again. Nothing is that permanent usually, unless you're going to get like a nose job or a boob job or something. And I would recommend in those cases to not do it if you came up with the idea during Mercury retrograde and planned to get it done also during the Mercury retrograde. But if you've been planning something serious for months or years and then you do the thing during Mercury retrograde, that's usually totally fine because the Mercury retrograde stands as a time where you like dial it in, like you're healing from your boob job, for example, or you cut your hair and you learn how to, you get bangs and then you have to learn how to style them for the next 3 weeks. And then by the end of the retrograde, it's kind of settled in and you can move forward without having to like make changes and whatnot. I sort of digress. So with Mercury stationing on your ascendant, it also brings up past personal issues that can come up. It brings up more focus on you and your personal needs, which can be for better or for worse, usually for better for those of us who are people pleasers. And it brings a time of personal clarity. I'm not saying that Mercury stations and then like the fog clears and you now understand what you have to do. No, it's just a series of weeks where you get more information, you add that to the pile, and you move forward. Okay, so that's what to expect if Mercury stations on your angles. The next question I had was about Venus being retrograde at the same time that Mercury will be retrograde. So first I want to say that Venus stations direct on September 3rd, while Mercury is retrograde until September 15th. So that means we have 1 week with both of them retrograde and 2 weeks with just Mercury retrograde. But Venus will still be moving very, very slowly at that point. So for the 1 week that they are both retrograde, we can expect a very intensified reflective period. Both Venus and Mercury amplify the need for introspection and reevaluation. Excuse me. How do people not burp on live? Like, I see people, like, how does Ethan Klein not burp during his podcast? I'd like to know. Okay. And also the 1 week while they're both retrograde, we can definitely expect some confusion and communication issues and just trickiness going on. We're just going to write off that week. We're going to write off that week. So the 2 weeks where it's just Mercury retrograde, it's not going to be as rough, but Venus will be slow. Really and truly, I think that the problems will shift to more like technological, communication, travel. The Mercury things will be more of an issue, while the Venus things are getting a little bow tied over it, almost done. So the third question I got was Mercury will be retrograde in Virgo, which is where Mars is also. So Mercury will be stationing retrograde near Mars in Virgo. And this is so interesting because it will only be for 4 or 5 days before Mars changes signs. So with that being said, those 4 or 5 days, August 23rd through August 27th-ish, are going to be rough days for people who have late degree mutable placements. Gemini, Virgo, Sag, Pisces, then you're going to be having a bit more of a bumpy retrograde. It'll be a bit more bumpy and significant and visceral and maybe a little bit more stressful. But that also means you'll get more good out of it too. More will come out of it that will be helpful for you. Another interesting thing is that the sun will enter Virgo. Virgo season will begin the same day Mercury stations retrograde. And I know the Virgos are just like throwing up about that. That's disgusting. Their ruling planet is stationing retrograde the day their season begins. Who fucking invented that, okay? Not fair. Not fair. I'd say that like the sun going into Virgo is really exciting and good and brings more light and happiness, but then there will be something that happens that might make you sit back down. Not necessarily terrible, like, you know, Mercury retrograde isn't crazy, but this is major renewal energy for Virgos, especially Virgo risings, but first you have to feel the burn first. So this means so with Mars involved, this is the whole, sorry, I'm all over the place today. But with Mars involved with the Mercury retrograde, this brings up increased critical thinking because Mars is very critical. And so is Mercury. Potential argumentativeness, thanks to Mars confrontation, a focused and driven work effort, which is very Mars. Possible impulsiveness in speech. So you might win the award and then have a really silly speech, like acceptance speech. Like that's a good example of the sun entering while Mercury stationing. And a potential health focus. All of our digestive systems might feel this. Virgo rules the digestive system, and with all of this business happening in Virgo, we might be our tummies might be extra sensitive for a few days during the start of Virgo season. Again, enhanced attention to detail also, and possibly technical or mechanical issues with both of this, because Mercury's, notorious for the technology influence, and Mars is aggressive, which can cause glitches and breakdowns, and particularly in tools used for work. So, fourth question. What does it mean when I have planets retrograde in my birth chart? If I had a penny for every time someone asked me that, I would probably have $1. It depends. Retrogrades in a natal chart in general mean a redo, or having to do something 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, depending on that planet and what it rules in your natal chart. So which house topics it rules. So firstly, before I get into a little bit of example, let's say you have Mercury and Venus retrograde in your chart, and Saturn. We're going to have 3. So firstly, whatever those retrograde planets rule in your chart, you can expect multiple visits around those topics. So for example, actually I'm going to wait. Outer planets signify less, though. So inner planets mean a little bit more. But overall, no matter what, those planets rule something in your chart, and that can indicate redoing those house topics. I'll give examples in a second. So outer planets signify less. For example, if you have Saturn retrograde in your chart and you have Capricorn ruling your 4th house, that means you could move back to your hometown multiple times, or move back to your literal home throughout your life. That's possible, as an example. For an inner planet, it could mean more. So besides Venus retrograde ruling, the Taurus house and the Libra house topics needing revisitation, it could also mean you do Venus things different than the norm. If an inner planet is retrograde, then you embody those topics in an unconventional way. So Venus retrograde means you do Venus things different than the norm. Maybe you're unconventional looking, and maybe you like a different aesthetic, or in a different kind of relationship that isn't as common. Mercury retrograde could mean that you learn in a more unconventional way than the norm. And a retrograde Mars could mean that you do Mars things in unconventional ways. So working in a different pace than other people, or confronting or arguing in a different way than other people, or having trouble accessing the normal way to do Mars things. Those are some examples of what retrogrades mean. So for the inner planets, it means more, and it means unconventional. It means more as in more significant, but it brings in more unconventionality to the topic, and also rules other houses in your chart, meaning you'll have to do them more than once. Hopefully I explained that better. I'll get better at explaining that. This won't be the end. Please, in the comments, if I didn't make something clear, please bring it up so that I can get better. I want to get better. Okay, so that's what I have. That was the Q&A, and now I'm just going to hop into the horoscopes. I recommend you check your rising sign, because that is how astrologers do horoscopes. So I recommend you know what time you're born and where you were born, and go look it up. Go Google rising sign calculator and figure it out, and then check that out, because you'll find it's a lot more accurate when you go by your rising sign. So jump to the, you know what to do. You know what to do. Jump to the timestamps. Hello, my Aries risings. Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your 6th house, whole sign house, and these themes are your daily routine, your to-do list, your work, your health, your coworkers, if you have them, pets, your lifestyle in general, and sometimes even dealing with enemies. So maybe it's time to shake things up at work with Mercury stationing here. What's working and what isn't? Maybe it's time for a health checkup If you're feeling great or not so great, maybe tweak your diet or, I've tweaked my diet recently and I eat a lot more McDonald's and it's making me a lot happier, okay? When I say diet, that's what I mean. But yeah, consider self-care. Consider helping your body and your health in ways that will make you happy and make it happy. Organizing is also a very good thing to do with this Mercury retrograde, whether it's your desk, whether it's your closet, or just your entire daily routine. A little decluttering never hurts anybody, right? Also, pets. So if you have any pets, you can pay attention to their needs a little bit more during this Mercury retrograde. Maybe buy them new toys or slowly introduce them to new food. This is good things for them, or getting a new pet even. And also, I have to bring up the enemies thing. The traditional association of the 6th house and enemies is just too tea to let go of. And so we have to pay attention to who we don't like and who doesn't like us. Are any conflicts bugging you? It's a good time to sort that out and let it go. Mercury in your chart, it also rules Gemini, so it also rules your 3rd house. And the 3rd house is about your immediate environment, what is actually surrounding you, your friends, your roommates, your neighbors, your relatives, short trips around town, like to the grocery store and whatnot, your neighborhood in general, block parties, communicating. Also your brain. It's the house of the mind. So communication and learning and education are all parts of the 3rd house. Technology, writing, changing your perspectives and changing how you think about things is 3rd house. And so is divination also traditionally. So some possible things that could happen. Revisiting your communication patterns is supported. How are you communicating? Does anything need to change? Like that sentence, for example, that I just said. You will also be supported in exploring relationships with friends. Is it time to reconnect with old buddies or siblings or cousins? Review your travel plans if you're traveling or if you're planning a little quick getaway where you're driving. Double, triple check everything. Check if your gadgets are running smoothly, all your iPads, because some people have more than one iPad. But yeah, your computers, your phones, your Apple Watches, check it out. Make sure expect some wonk there. Expect some wonk. But Mercury retrograde is a process. It goes from, again, August 23rd through September 15th. So these houses are in the spotlight, and it's not a one-day thing. This is a process. It's time to explore and understand and adjust. So trial runs are welcome for any of these topics. Use this time to try new things without committing to them permanently. That's great for retrogrades. If you're ready for a permanent change, if you've been pondering a significant change, this could be the time to make it. Letting this retrograde be the transitional phase to adapt to the newness. It's also a good time for reorganizations and redos, as you know. Shuffle things around, start something again, something old, but start it again. So what can you expect? Other things you can expect. A work-life adjustment. Are you feeling overworked? Are you feeling underworked? Find your balance. Some health awareness. How's your body and soul? Time for a self-check there. Communicate. Are your words coming out right? Is it you? Is it them? Think about that. Reflect on that. Again, travel cautions and tech cautions. Expect the unexpected. Expect the gadgets to act up. So how to take advantage of this Mercury retrograde? Assess your work routine. Revisit your health practices. Evaluate your communication style. Go back to school. Start those online classes you've been considering. Organize your living space. with your roommates. Plan your travel very carefully. Sibling, cousin, buddy time. Reach out to your siblings or your close friends. Coffee or a video call, perhaps. And remember that patience is a virtue. Hey, it's Mercury retrograde. You got to take your deep breaths, and you got this. And that's what we have. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember that my fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. Or for a more intimate astrological discussion, I am available for one-on-one consultations. Link is in the description. And of course, you are invited to join us at the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Hello, Tauruses. Mercury retrograde is in your 5th house this time, which brings up it's the funnest house to me. To everyone, let's be real, it's the funnest house. It's creativity, it's romance, it's your hobbies, what you do for fun, and how you express yourself through art or music, and children, if you have any, also. So revisiting creativity and fun, digging out old sketches, playing a forgotten instrument. Now is the time during this retrograde. Some sort of romance check-in is happening as well. Are you feeling sparks? Are you feeling snags? Reflect on what you need in love with Mercury stationing in this house. It could bring up ex-lovers as well, so be aware of that possibility. Connecting with your kids, bonding with children, thinking about parenting styles, that sort of thing. Reevaluating your hobbies, considering a new hobby or rediscovering an old hobby. Explore your hobbies and don't guilt yourself for them because they're not productive. We don't go into the disease of capitalism in this channel, okay? We have fun. And express yourself. How have you been stifling your self-expression? Do you need to speak up? Do you need to tone it down? The opposite of that. Reflect on it. So the other thing about Mercury retrograde is Mercury also rules your 2nd house. Gemini rules Gemini. So the 2nd house is about money, possessions, self-worth, possible effects that come from the 2nd house, reassessing your budget, having a surprise bill come through, having a surprise check come through, assessing your financial goals and benchmarking them and moving forward with the information that you have, figuring out, decluttering your space, your physical space, like cleaning out your closet, cleaning out your garage. Also, having a reflection on how you view yourself and your self-esteem. You need a confidence check during this Mercury retrograde. Figure out how to boost your self-esteem, and you will be rewarded. Revisiting your spending habits with the 2nd house here. Are you an impulse buyer or are you too frugal? Review. Balance might be the key here. And assessing your investments are the 2nd house thing too. Review them, check them out, see what they've been doing, see if they align with your current values. So Mercury retrograde is a process. It goes from August 23rd through September 15th, and all of these things are in the spotlight until then. It's a process. It's not a one-time thing. It's a time to explore, to understand, to adjust, to allow. Trial runs are welcome. This is a good time to try new things without committing to them permanently. And if you are ready for a permanent change, if you've been considering it, if you've been thinking about it for a while already, this could be the time to make it, letting this retrograde be the transitional phase to adapt to the new, if that's relevant to your situation. Of course, reorganizations, redos, reviews, reevaluations, all of these are great things to do with this retrograde. So other things you can expect. Tapping into your inner artist, which can be your inner painter, your inner writer, your inner decorator, your inner space beautification-er. Also, love and money reflections, relationships and budgets might need fine-tuning during this retrograde. Family connections, maybe bonding with children if you have kids, spending more time with them. Also, hobby time. Rediscovering your old hobbies or finding new hobbies, letting yourself enjoy hobbies for once without guilt. And then, of course, self-expression and confidence. Speak your mind, but mind your tone. Reflect on how you express yourself and how you put yourself out there. Is it half you? Is it half them? You know, that sort of thing. Reflect and grow. So how can you take advantage of this Mercury retrograde? I recommend, so this is a fun one for real. This is like, please dive into a creativity. Dive into your hobbies. Explore new artistic avenues. If you don't think you're an artist because you don't paint, you don't draw, you don't music, I bet you can make a living room look beautiful, or you can make the front yard flowers look beautiful. Gardening is an art too, okay? So don't think you're not creative because you only draw a stick figure. I had to learn that the hard way myself. I never considered myself creative. I can't draw. I can't paint. I don't understand shadows. They're so hard. But I know I'm creative because I ended up doing this. And like all of the video editing and stuff. That's just like a different version of creativity. And you have all the versions of creativity. So I don't want to hear it. Okay. Reflect also how to take advantage. Reflect on romance and love. Consider what you need in romantic relationships and how to communicate those needs. Evaluate your finances, of course. Revisit your goals. Revisit your plans. Are they in alignment? It doesn't have to be scary. It can be good news. Maybe you're on track and things are good. And Mercury retrograde is here to have you benchmark and adjust as necessary. Cooking is also creative. Cooking, okay? Nurture your creative soul. I'm not over it. Again, connect with children, connect with your children, connect with young relatives in general. Be open to change, my Tauruses. I know that you are open to change, but that like it's kind of annoying. So whether in creativity, finances, relationships, just stay open to new insights and new adjustments. And that's what we have. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this video and you want to dive deeper into astrology with me, remember Pix's Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes for the week and for the month. The link is in the description. Or for a more intimate astrological discussion, I am available for one-on-one consultations. The link to book those is also in the description. And of course, you are welcome and invited to join my free 9th house Discord server to keep the astrological conversations flowing. Thank you so much, friends. I will see you next time. Hello, my Geminis. Mercury, your ruling planet, will be stationing in your 4th house, which is the house of home, family, roots, and your emotional security, and real estate and property. So reconnecting with family is a thing. Calling a family member you haven't talked to in a while, maybe. Maybe assessing your living space, revamping or moving is even supported. Checking in emotionally. How are you really feeling right now? Deep dive into your emotions and really, connect. Connecting to your roots or your ancestry is supported. Exploring your family history and noticing surprises or connections. Family stuff. Security matters. Are you feeling safe? Are you feeling secure? Assess how to find that feeling of home with Mercury stationing here. You can expect delays and setbacks with home and family matters, and like remodeling, or not even remodeling. It could be a remodel, but also just like having to unclog a toilet that always clogs. Like that's Mercury retrograde in the 4th house too. So the other thing though is that Mercury rules your 1st house. So this is extremely visceral for you. You're going to be pondering the age-old question of like, who am I really on some level? Revamping your style is big. embracing your quirks more and refining your social skills, considering a fresh start, a new beginning of some kind, and also focusing on your physical health. Since Mercury rules your first house as well, all of these first house things come into focus. I mean, let's just get real here. Mercury is Gemini's ruling planet. So that means that this retrograde and all Mercury retrogrades have double the impact. The retrogrades feel a bit more visceral and intense. I really want to know how people don't burp during podcasts. Like, I'm always burping. I think I swallow too much air. So of course, communication challenges. You might stumble in your strong suit of communication while it's moving backwards, and having a mental overload or feeling scattered, feeling ungrounded, decluttering the mind and focusing. That's big. That's a big ask for Mercury stationing. But yeah, it's a process though. It's a process from August 23rd to September 15th. So all of this is in the spotlight until then. It's a process. It's not a one-day thing. Trial runs are welcome during retrogrades. Use a retrograde to try new things without committing to them permanently. If you want to do some sort of permanent change, if you've been pondering it for a while and didn't start thinking about it during the retrograde, that's okay. It's a fine time to make a change that you've been considering for a while, letting the retrograde be the transitional phase to adapt to the new, to dial it all in. And of course, reorganizations, redos, reviews, reevaluations, doing things you have done before, all retrograde themes. So you can expect, what can you expect, Gemini? A family focus. Relationships with family or chosen family take center stage. Home redos or assessments. Your living space might need attention in some way. Since it's your ruling planet, self-exploration is big. Dive into who you are and what you really want. There may be things that happen that ask you or that require you to question that in yourself. You might also expect emotional waves. Feelings might run high, might run low. You might be extra tired one day and extra wired the other days. But yeah, consider new changes to your looks, in your appearance, and also your personality. You can decide to change your personality also, of course. So what can you do to make the most of this retrograde with what it's doing in your chart? Strengthen connections or mend broken ones. So spend more time with your chosen family. Speak to people that you need to apologize to. Or forgive people silently without even talking to them. Make boundary decisions with family. Make also home improvements. Do some home improvements. You'll be supported in that. Cultivating more emotional intelligence is really good too for this sort of retrograde. And fresh starts. Plan new beginnings for September, for the middle of September. Prepare for new beginnings, whether it is in your appearance or in your life path overall. Dial in your decisions. But yeah, checking your health also with Mercury retrograde. That means that August 23rd, the day it stations, and September 15th, the other day it stations, you will be tired. You will be burnt out. You will not want to move because Mercury isn't moving. And Mercury represents you in the sky. And if Mercury isn't moving, you don't want to move. And you're going to sit on the couch and be tired. So let yourself. And you may notice health things come up around that time also. So assessing your health is supported. And stay grounded with Mercury ruling you and it, doing its thing, being combust and conjoined Mars and all of the things. You got to keep calm. You got to stay focused. You got to do this for yourself. Okay. So it's going to be a fun one. If you have any questions, please comment below. Let me know what's happening for you. If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into astrology with me, remember I have a fellowship that offers personalized weekly and monthly horoscopes. Or for a more intimate astrological discussion, I do offer one-on-one consultations. The link is in the description. And of course, you are invited to join our free 9th house Discord server where we discuss astrology and tarot and always keep the conversation flowing. So thank you so much for being here. Good luck, my Geminis. Have fun riding the waves. I know you always do. Hello, my Cancers. Mercury will be stationing in your 3rd house this time, which brings up themes around communication, trips, siblings, neighbors, education. The 3rd house rules your immediate environment and your mind, which are intertwined a lot of the times, right? So with the Mercury retrograde happening in your 3rd house, you can expect extra communication issues, extra technology issues, extra transportation issues. And by extra, I mean just like noticing them more in your life. Not that you will have to be dealing with them all the time, but the themes will be prominent. So expect surprises, be flexible with your travel plans, connecting with your siblings or your cousins or other extended family members is supported also, especially ones you haven't seen in a while, or working through conflict with them as well. Dealing with neighbors or neighborly situations. I've been getting my neighbor's newspaper for her because she's an elderly old lady who like literally can't go down her own stairs, and she has no family members. It's so trippy to think about that when people just get old and do not have any kids or don't have any siblings, so they have no nephews or nieces, or she has no family, and she just hires somebody to like bring her trash cans in and get her mail and stuff. And I feel so bad for her. Sorry for this digression, but this is very 3rd housey. So every morning I go to my next door neighbors and I bring her newspaper. And that's the kind of 3rd house neighborly Mercury retrograde stuff that could happen. If you have an annoying neighbor, it could be extra annoying. Or maybe you become friends with the annoying neighbor. Or you guys decide to throw a block party and it's full of drama, but entertaining drama. That is Mercury retrograde in the 3rd house. Also, the 3rd house rules your mind. So picking up a new skill or revisiting old studies or deciding to do some online classes, these are 3rd house things. Also, changing your mind about something is big with Mercury stationing in the 3rd house. Allow yourself to change your mind over the 3 weeks that is this retrograde. The other thing about this Mercury retrograde is that it rules your 12th house. Gemini is there, so it rules your 12th house. So we're going to see some retrograde themes having to do with these topics, which are more about spirituality and the subconscious mind and secrets or hidden enemies, isolation. It's a little bit scarier of a house, but also less in your face and more behind the scenes, behind the curtain. So like having really weird dreams, you know, your subconscious bringing out old things for you to feel, having more dreams, more weird dreams, more old dreams, also facing hidden fears, bringing things to light is a possibility also. Learning secrets, telling secrets, also spiritual connection. If you're feeling disconnected spiritually to the greater universe, you can explore meditation or some sort of spiritual situation that can help you connect. You will connect a lot easier. You will reconnect with the 12th house's involvement. Also, just the idea of solitude versus isolation. If you need alone time, take it. If you're feeling isolated, find some community. Balance is key. And I feel so cheesy saying this because I don't want to be the typical YouTube astrologer that's like hyping you about things that aren't necessarily going to happen. But with the 12th house involved, I have to mention like watching your back a little bit with like a fake friend or a frenemy or something. Like these are situations, the frenemies and the fake friend thing are 12th house themes. So trust your gut throughout the retrograde. Trust your intuition about people. It's going to be more accurate than you want it to be a lot of the time about the specific person when it comes out. Things might come out about that. So And yeah, I got to remind you, it's a process. It's a 3-week process. It's from August 23rd to September 15th. So it's not a one-day thing. It's a time to explore. It's a time to take time to understand and adjust. So I like saying, I just want to tell you more about this retrograde in general. It is a good time for trial runs. Trial runs are welcome. Use this retrograde to try new things without committing to them permanently. That way you can see if you want to. If you are ready for permanent changes, if you've been pondering, a significant change from before the retrograde, then the retrograde could be a good time to make it, letting it be the transitional phase to adapt to the new. And I talk more about this in the Q&A earlier in the video if you want to hear me go off on that. But of course, then there's the usual, the reorganizations. Like you might start a new, I guess not you specifically, but for example, starting a new job and then organizing your desk. Like that's a reorganization that could be. Like you've worked before, you've never maybe organized this exact desk, but you've organized a desk before. In some situations, you get what I mean. Reorganizations, redos, reviews, reevaluations. So what can you expect also? So what else? What else can you expect with this retrograde? You can expect to tell yourself to speak your mind mindfully. Clear communication will be your friend during this retrograde. Like I said, this one is going to mess up your communication a bit more than most. Expect travel twists. If you're traveling, short trips might have unexpected detours. There might be construction happening more than usual. There might be a toll you weren't expecting. You might have to pay your car registration and it's $600 for some reason because you live in California. I digress. Sibling dynamics. Siblings, cousins, extended families, aunts, uncles. Relationships with them might come into focus more. Neighbors as well, getting together with family more. Your dreams might be more vivid. Take note of your dreams. Take note of your intuitive hunches. And spend time reconnecting to spirituality. How can you make the most? I've been talking a lot about how you can use it. That's kind of my favorite way to talk about retrogrades because I'm not really here to like warn you. You already know. If you're here, you already know what Mercury retrograde can do. I want to tell you what you can use it for. So listen more. Use this Mercury retrograde to listen more specifically. With the 3rd and 12th house involved, you can learn a lot more than usual by just listening. You can listen more in conversations and gain more insight about situations, or you can hear things that you didn't know before, like secrets, that sort of thing. Travel light and be ready. Be prepared for travel surprises. Pack with care. Whenever never mind. Okay, spend more time with your siblings or your sibling-like friends. Like I don't have real siblings, so my friends are like my siblings. Or if you're close to your cousins, like that sort of thing. The people who hang out with you. Embrace learning. Learn a new skill or an old skill, your old studies. Dive into some sort of education. Meditation, journaling could definitely offer deeper insights during this retrograde. Thank you to the 12th house. And again, community connections. Spend time with neighbors or local friends. Build community bonds during this retrograde, and you will see them flourish after the retrograde ends. So that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions. Let me know what's going on for you for this retrograde. I love reading your comments. If you enjoyed this video and you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember you can join my fellowship for personalized horoscopes. Or if you want to get a reading with me, one-on-one consultations, you can find the link in the description of this video. And of course, you are invited to join the free 9th house Discord server to keep the Astro Convo flowing. So again, thank you so much for being here. Good luck, my friends, and I will see you next time. Hello, Leos. Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your second house, which brings up money and possessions in the material world, as well as your self-worth and your confidence and what you value in life. So this is a time to reevaluate your finances. Are your spending habits in alignment with your goals? Time to check out your possessions, your material things. What do you really need and what do you need to let go of? It might be time to declutter. Dive into your confidence levels and reflect on what makes you feel valuable in life. And then reflect on your values, what truly matters to you. Ensure that your actions are lining up with your core beliefs. Are you acting in alignment? And then, of course, investments. If we have investments, you got to check up on those, take a closer look, make sure that they're working out for you. The other thing about this Mercury retrograde, before I get into that, you could also have random bills come up to deal with or random payments to come up. You might get a check in the mail. Surprise financial things could happen as well. It's a good time to reevaluate how you make money also. And it's a good time to consider if you want a raise, consider how you're going to have that conversation. The other thing is that Mercury rules your 11th house, which is your friends, your groups, your networks, the people, like, you know, a guy kind of guy, you know, like your friend who does this and your friend who does that, like that sort of thing. So friends, groups, social causes also, and your hopes and dreams and aspirations are also up for redo. So friendship, focus on your friendships with this retrograde. You might notice seeing old friends that you haven't seen in a while, or wanting to see them, or dealing with old issues with friends. You could also be reevaluating a group dynamic of some sort. How are you in this group? Reflect on your role in this group and the roles of the group. Also connecting to social causes of some kind, feeling passionate about a cause, and exploring that. And benchmarking and thinking about your aspirations and your goals and your wishes. What are your big dreams now? A lot of the times they change throughout our life. So reflect on that and maybe write some things down, journal a bit since it's Mercury. And yeah, again, your networking nuances happening. There might be some sort of drama happening in a group that you're involved with, or some sort of redo with a group that you're involved with. Either way, Mercury retrograde is a process. So this is from August 23rd to September 15th, and it's a process. It's time to explore and understand and adjust. I like to say that it's a good time for trial runs. This is a good time to try new things without committing to them permanently. Like if you have a club that you're involved with and you want to have a new leader of the club and you all vote, and the new leader gets implemented and then has, like, you know, it's, what is the word I'm looking for? Not probation, right? You don't like probation with leaders, but like a trial run. If you're ready for permanent changes, if you've been pondering a significant change, like cutting off a friend or something like that, this is also a really good time to make it, letting the retrograde be the transitional phase to adapt to the new situation. And then, of course, reorganizations, redos, reviews, reevaluations, all typical for retrogrades. So allow for that. Accept that. So what else can you expect? I recommend checking out financial budgets of some kind, budgeting for yourself, checking out your spending, your savings. All of that is up for review. Also, friends, groups, and teams, relationships. How's that going? There might be some things that come up that you have to deal with and work through that have to do with miscommunications, of course. Also, a value check, since it's in your second house. Like, are you living true to what matters most to you actually? This is the most important part, right? Also, how's your social involvement in general? I always burp. How do people not burp while they're talking all the time? I must swallow air. So yeah, social involvement. Reconsider your role in groups and with friends and with causes that you are involved with. This could become more like prominent in your life. And also, how can you make the most of it? I'm kind of listing that, but also I want you to do some sort of money management, like review, realign, revamp your financial game plan. You might need to change your perspective on something, and that's okay. That's okay. It might even be better than you think. But some sort of money management, allowing for whatever surprise bill or whatever surprise check comes in the mail. Also, strengthening bonds or cutting ties with friends. Make your friendships work for you, okay? Also, you could find a cause. You could find a cause and volunteer, make a difference. That could alleviate some of the retrograde energy also. Improve your group dynamics, improve your teamwork professionally or just personally. I recommend you invest in your dreams by writing your dreams down, making a plan, and taking the first step, the first tiny little baby step, even if it looks stupid. It will strengthen that intention. Also, this is a great time for networking. If you're looking for a new job, if you're looking for a guy to remodel your bathroom, whatever the fuck your plans are, this is a good time to network and reach out to your friends and your friends' friends and ask your friends to ask their friends and all that sort of thing. Networking will be very lit during this retrograde. So reach out, reconnect, clean up your network, and boost your confidence too. The second house, like, it's about, there's a lot going on too with the Venus retrograde too. So I think that you should look in the mirror and recognize your worth and strut around and dance in front of the mirror and boost your confidence. You deserve it. You deserve that. So we have a fairly chill Mercury retrograde, mostly having to do with your friends and your money. And so maybe they can work together in some fashion. So yeah, that's what we have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below. Let me know what's going on for you, what's going to happen. If you enjoyed this video and want to delve deeper into astrology with me, you can join Pix's Fellowship for personalized horoscopes, or for a more intimate astrology discussion, you can book a reading with me. And of course, you are invited to join the free 9th House Discord server to help keep the astro conversation flowing. Again, thank you so much for being here. Good luck, my friends. This Mercury retrograde will be nothing for y'all. It'll be so easy. You're going to learn how to make more money. Hello, Virgos. This is a big Mercury retrograde for you since it's happening in Virgo. And Mercury is your ruling planet. So this is the Virgo Mercury retrograde show. So since Mercury, I'm going to start here. Since Mercury is your ruling planet, this means that the retrograde has double the impact on you. This retrograde might be more intense or more applied, I should say, where it's more obvious and loud that it's happening. Also, you can expect more communication challenges than usual. You might be stumbling in this strong suit of yours. So allow yourself to reflect, allow yourself to refine more than you usually do, which I know is a lot already. And expect to feel kind of buzzbrain or kind of mentally overloaded or scattered. So a good time to declutter your mind. But let's discuss what Mercury retrograde in the first house can do. It can bring things up from the past. So old problems, old people, old ideas that you had, all of this comes back up. Also, it asks you to reflect on your self-image. It asks you to reassess your personal goals. Your goals might need revising or revitalizing and revisiting. Tweaking your appearance in some way is supported, like updating your wardrobe or a new hairstyle of some kind. But of course, experiment with care. It's not we're all experimenting with care during the retrograde. So besides Mercury just like having you redo a lot of yourself, finding, let's see, how do I word this? There's a lot of moving parts to this Mercury retrograde, and there's a lot of moving parts to your life at the same time. So I just want you to know about this Mercury retrograde specifically. It will be more visceral. You'll see a lot more of its topics coming up, but it'll be so many things that it will seem like your whole life in some fashion. Like I'm imagining somebody moving across the state and going to school. Like this is a big change, or like starting a whole new job. Because besides Mercury ruling your first house and having you reevaluate yourself in general, Mercury also rules your 10th house, which is your career, your public image, the roles you are known for taking on in life. So a career check-in is in order. Are you happy with your job? Is it time to rethink your career path? Or is there some sort of public image polish you could be doing for yourself? Like, how are others seeing you right now, especially at work? You can reflect and refine with that. Also, colleagues and bosses are in a bit more focus, especially bosses. You might be talking to someone in authority to you a lot more than usual. Or your boss is quitting and you're getting a new boss, that sort of thing. Like, consider your leadership also. How you lead or how you follow at work might also need a fresh look. So reevaluating career, reevaluating the roles you take on. But Mercury retrograde is a process. So from August 23rd to September 15th, all of this is highlighted. Like what you are known for doing and who you are is getting refined. It's not a one-day thing. It's a process. It's a time to explore, a time to understand, accept, and adjust. I say trial runs are welcome with Mercury retrograde. So you can use this time to try new things without committing to them permanently. If you are ready for a permanent change, this could be the time to make it, letting this retrograde period be the transitional phase to adapt to the new situation. And I only recommend that if you come up with the idea before the Mercury retrograde. I don't think you should come up with an idea during Mercury retrograde and then apply it and then expect it to be like dialed in by the end. Like, no. But if you had the idea before the Mercury retrograde and then you did it and you use the Mercury retrograde to be the transitional phase to adapt, then that's recommended. But yeah, the usual reorganizations, redos, revisitations, reviews, reevaluations, all the re's. These are all supported. So it's a good time for checking in with yourself and how you view yourself and what you want to present to the world. It's a good time to reflect on your career, and it's a time where there might be more drama at work or more drama with your boss. There might be more work to do in general. A lot of fires to put out probably, but luckily you have the gumption for it. It's just that it's not very fun to deal with. But yeah, try and align your work with your values and your passions. Take steps towards that. Speak clearly, listen deeply, resolve misunderstandings with the communication issues with this retrograde. Experiment with your appearance, but avoid impulsive changes. Dream big and plan for it. Revisit your long-term goals with a fresh perspective and be patient and allow for the time for it to unfold. Assess your leadership style at work. What can improve? Assess your leadership style in life. How do you lead yourself? Can it improve? And of course, embrace flexibility. Stay open to anything. Adapt. Stay open and adapt. And you will come out of this way more dialed in with whatever it is that you do want to do. And that you do want to move forward with. So that's what we have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below. Let me know what's happening for you for this retrograde. Comment below if you have any questions. If you like this video and want to dive deeper into astrology with me, remember that I have a fellowship that offers personalized weekly and monthly horoscopes. And for a more intimate astrology discussion, of course, I'm available for one-on-one consultations. And lastly, you are welcome and invited to join us at the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing, where we're always talking about astrology and tarot and fun things like that. So yeah, again, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Hello, my Libras. Mercury will be stationing in your 12th house, which is kind of a confusing place for it to station. It's not very easy to see what's going on. So when it stations retrograde, you might not notice anything happening because it's happening behind the scenes. It might not be directly in your face, in front of you, in your life, but it could be in the other room, or it could be in your mind even. It could be deep inside where you're disassociating from and not noticing. But this is a retrograde that asks you to dive into your subconscious and explore your dreams, tap into meditation, connect, and figure out what your mind is trying to tell you. Quiet yourself so you can hear your own wisdom. It's also a retrograde where you might unearth hidden things. If anything is swept under the rug, this retrograde's time to face it. So also, a retrograde here, a Mercury retrograde here, could bring about more spiritual connection. Since there are things happening in the unseen, it is a good idea to connect to that so that you can feel in some sort of flow. So feeling a pull towards mystical things or exploring spiritual practices or paths are something to do also. You could also be dealing with something that requires you to be isolated or in solitude. Something hard might happen that requires you to deep dive into the depths, whether that is your health, whether that is just not wanting, like just your emotions and mood, whether it's because you are stuck taking care of somebody else, whether it's because you're traveling for work, whether it's because you're on vacation that you planned months ago. Like, reconnecting with solitude is a thing that this retrograde asks for. It's also a time where you might be more prone to addiction if you're that sort of person, so just be aware of that coming up as well. Mercury rules your 9th house too. That's where Gemini is. And so this brings in more mental, like this brings in the mind enough to process what is happening with the Mercury retrograde in your 12th house, which is shit happening behind the scenes, really. You need to get a different friend to show you, to tell you what's happening with this Mercury retrograde, because you can't see it. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. It's true. So the 9th house, though, brings in that awareness, which is nice. So it asks you to reevaluate your beliefs. You might be revisiting old beliefs you used to hold. You might be revisiting higher education or college or trade school decisions, thinking about a course or a school of some kind. It's a good time to research, a good time to dial that in. It's a time where travel is supported, but also like you gotta have patience because it's still Mercury retrograde, so like the fuckery is still afoot, but travel is supported with the 9th house and the 12th house going on. Like you might be traveling somewhere you haven't traveled in a while, or considering it, planning a trip. And two other things about the 9th house: connecting with people that are of a different culture or background than you, cooking a foreign dish, going to a different restaurant, learning a new language too. Also exploring philosophies in general, or occult practices or psychology, being interested in life's big questions. Asking life's big questions could come up with this retrograde also. But it's a process. It's from August 23rd through September 15th. It's not a one-day thing. It's a time to explore. It's a time to understand, adjust, I say trial runs are welcome. Trial runs are welcome. Try something new. Try something new and don't commit to it permanently, you know? That's what a trial run is. If you're ready for a permanent change, this could be a good retrograde to make it, as long as you were thinking about this idea before the retrograde, which lets the retrograde be the transitional phase to adapt to the new changes. But yeah, overall, reorganizations, redos, reviews, reevaluations, all of that is supported. So, having more dreams is very possible. Doing any kind of astral work is very possible with this. Opportunities or setbacks regarding schooling or travel is possible. Finding yourself drawn to spiritual practices more, because a lot of the times it's because you have to be, like you're miserable and it forces you into it. So it's a better idea to just go into it immediately without having to be forced into that. And then, of course, hidden, thanks to the 12th house, hidden emotions coming up. So be prepared to face emotions or issues that you've avoided. So how do we make the most of this Mercury retrograde? Explore your mind on purpose. Journal, meditate, talk to a counselor to understand yourself a bit better on purpose. Face whatever hidden issues come up. If something's been bothering you, now's the time to address it. Don't hold it in until you explode. I recommend embracing spirituality of some kind. Go deeper into your existing practice or explore new ways. Educate yourself. If you are drawn to learning, do start that online course. Do pick up those books. You're not going to make a mistake by starting it during Mercury retrograde. This is the perfect dial-in to it. Getting used to the newness, adapting to the newness. Plan accordingly, whether it's travel or major decisions. Take your time, double check, reflect on what matters most to you, and align yourself with those core beliefs. That's what this little retrograde's about. It's about recalibration. And embrace diversity, embrace learning new things, experiment with cooking, art, or music from different cultures than you. And again, connect with your inner world. Spend quality time with yourself, engage in that isolation, and, work on understanding yourself. These are all supported with this retrograde. So allow yourself to go into your own little healing spiritual retreat during this retrograde. And that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions. Comment below to let me know what you're expecting to come up for this Mercury retrograde. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button to support me. And if you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember that I have a fellowship that offers personalized weekly and monthly horoscopes. I also offer one-on-one consultations, and you are welcome to join the free 9th House Discord server to talk astrology and tarot with me and a bunch of other cool people. So again, thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time. Hello, my Scorpio besties. Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your 11th house this time, which brings up friends and community and networks and your long-time aspirations and goals, as well as the money you make from your job. So a friendship overview is likely. Old friends might pop up. It's a time to reconnect or reassess connections. Group dynamics, being involved in some sort of club or groups, considering your role and how it aligns with your values and your energy. Long-term goal check. Also, are your dreams still on track? It's time for a goal setting session, like a benchmark session. This is where we're at, and this is where we want to go now that we have the information that we have. Being passionate about a cause and putting more effort into that and seeing how you can contribute to that cause is also something that could come up with the 11th house. and networking opportunities. Reevaluating your social connections. New collaborations might be on the horizon as well. But like reconnecting with somebody who you haven't talked to in a while that can like paint your living room, for example, or somebody who can introduce you to somebody who might want to hire you, or reevaluating how much effort you put into your group that you're in, some sort of book club you're in maybe, or a Discord server that you're in, for example. So the other thing about this Mercury retrograde, Mercury rules your 8th house also. So 8th house topics are up for a reeval type thing. So the 8th house brings up intimacy, shared resources, and transformation. Those are like the 3 main big ones. So delving deeper into your intimate and close relationships. Is there balance? Is there trust? Thinking about that. Having somebody who you are close with deal with something challenging is possible. Some sort of financial review between you and a partner's shared finances might be in order. And feeling like a personal transformation in general, feeling a change within, and like intimacy and vulnerably for you, feeling a change and exploring what that means for your future. Of course, more about investments, analyzing your investments, analyze their performance, and align them with your goals. And of course, the deep emotional dives, reflecting on deeper emotions, reflecting on fears or desires that might be surfacing. So Mercury retrograde is a process. It goes from August 23rd to September 15th. And so it's a time to explore, understand, adjust, not just a one-time thing. So I recommend, or I like to say with Mercury, with all retrogrades, trial runs are welcome during retrogrades. You can use a retrograde to try new things without committing to them permanently. If you are ready for a permanent change and you've been pondering it for a while before the retrograde, this could be the time to make that change, letting the retrograde be the transitional phase while you adapt to the new. But yeah, the general, reorganizations, redos, reviews, reevals, recalibrations are in order. And you got to allow for that time, right? So you can expect friend drama, group drama, club drama from this, because the 11th house retrograde. Not necessarily like huge blowouts, but maybe for some people. But yeah, group drama is definitely possible. Friend drama is possible. And group could be at work. Group could be online. Group could be your friends that you go like downtown with on Fridays. So allow for drama. And this will have you reflecting on your role within this group. And just reflect on your role within the groups you're in already in general. Your role in these social groups might shift. Expect to explore deeper emotions, deeper intimacy with somebody, or explore finances in some way. Having a windfall of some kind or a random bill show up isn't impossible either. It's nothing you can't handle though, okay? Again, looking into investments, and yeah, being kind of extra emotional maybe because of the 8th house involvement. But how can you make the most of this Mercury retrograde? Catching up with old friends that you do want to talk to can definitely use up that energy. And we want to use up the retrograde so that we want to do the transit before the transit does us, okay? So if we use the retrograde vibe without it needing to use us, then we can maybe deflect some of the more challenging things that happens. I know I'm being kind of extra by like trying to fight fate, but I think using the transit before the transit uses you is the way to remediate some things. So Instead of letting friend drama happen to you, you can reach out to old friends and strengthen existing connections with people. And that will use that retrograde energy instead of letting it just fester in your life and having some sort of drama that comes out that then forces you to reflect on your role and forces you to catch up with certain people or strengthen certain connections and work through that, right? It's like the faster way to what the retrograde wants from you. So another thing is aligning your goals, benchmarking, like I said earlier. Ensure that your long-term dreams are matching your current path at some point on the roadmap of your life. Have meaningful conversations with people you are close with. Build trust with people. Review finances and investments. Acknowledge the internal changes that are happening with you. And also, you can use this retrograde to engage more deeply with causes that you care about. Volunteer, donate old clothes, etc. Build connections that support your professional and your personal growth by networking wisely during this retrograde. And mind your emotions. We're all going to be a bit emotional. So reflect on your deep feelings and discuss them with someone you trust. Why do I always burp, dude? How do people talk all the time without burping? Like, I know I'm just swallowing air. Anyway, I digress. That's all I have for y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions that you want me to answer. Comment below. Let me know what you have planned for this retrograde. If you enjoyed this video and you want to dive deeper into astrology with me, you can join my fellowship for weekly or monthly horoscopes. You can book a one-on-one reading with me. And of course, you can join the free 9th House Discord server and chat astrology and tarot with me and a bunch of other cool people. So that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Good luck, friends. Hello, my Sagittariuses. Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your 10th house. So this is a big retrograde for you, okay? This brings up the 10th house matter. Okay, the 10th house in modern astrology rules your career, and that is true. It can rule your career if you have a career. But it also rules your general reputation, like what people in your life know you for, the roles you take on, and authority figures in your life as well. So this retrograde could bring up drama around your work or your job or the roles that you're known for taking on. Like, you could be a hairstylist and there might be some drama with the other girls in the other chairs, or a client or your boss. This is a time of career evaluation, a time of authority relationship focus, or your public image reputation reflection, and considering or reconsidering your achievements in life. The other thing about Mercury is that it rules your 7th house. So the redos and the re-evaluations are also happening within partnerships, contracts, and one-on-one interactions that you have with people. So partnership reviews, contract checkups, reassessing your commitments, reassessing relationship dynamics, reassessing legal matters. These are all supported thanks to the 7th house. You could be, an ex could come through the woodwork, an old bestie could come through the woodwork, an old client could come through the woodwork. All possibilities with the 7th house being involved. You could, of course, be having drama within your relationship if you're in one, or, hear me out, your partner and your job or your career or the roles you take on are clashing in some way and need a recalibration. So Mercury retrograde is a process. It's from August 23rd to September 15th. So you're going to allow those 3-ish weeks to adjust. We're going to allow whatever happens so that you can make adjustments. It's a process. It's a time to explore, understand. I say that trial runs are a good thing to do during Mercury retrograde. You can use a retrograde to try new things without committing to them permanently. If you are looking for a permanent change, to make a permanent change, a retrograde could be a good time to make it, as long as you didn't come up with the idea also during the retrograde. But the retrograde can be used as a transitional phase to adapt to whatever new changes came through. And of course, reorganizations, redos, reviews, reevaluations, recalibrations are all up for all of us. So what can you expect? You can expect drama at work. You can expect drama possibly with your parents. You can expect drama. I would like to just say, because you're Sag rising, you can handle this. But like generally speaking, if it's in your 10th house, it's going to be kind of an overarching in your whole life type of thing. So not only job, but just like I said, the roles you take on. So some drama happening, some shifts, some changes, some reorganizations happening at or with the roles you take on. Reflecting on your relationships. How's your relationship going? How's your friendship with your bestie? How is your relationship with your mom? Any one-on-one, like partner in crime people, like your sidekick type of energy, like reevaluation with your sidekick or with your partner. Dealing with authority drama of some kind, whether that is your boss, your parent, your landlord, your a cop, like a literal policeman. These are all possibilities. So don't speed during the Mercury retrograde, because we don't want any interactions with the cops. And be careful with contracts during this one. Read the fine print. That doesn't mean you can't sign it, but read the fine print. So how can you make the most out of this retrograde? Career exploration. The word career, we love it. Maybe it's time to explore a new career path, or just tweak your current one in some way. It's a good time to build or mend or explode bridges between people that you want to get closer with or want to not ever see again. So boundaries in general are big with this one. It's a good time to reassess your boundaries at work and in relationships. It's a good time to visit any legal situations. If you've signed contracts, it's a good time to review the paperwork. It's a good time to evaluate your skills and your contributions at work. Stand up for yourself if that's needed and you're not getting, the credit you deserve. You deserve to get the credit, so stand up for yourself. Of course, communicate clearly in relationships and you'll find that you become a lot closer with people. And just stay open to change. That's my advice. Stay open to change, because your career or your relationship landscapes might shift, and it's important to stay adaptable. We're dialing in all the shifts. There's a lot of moving parts, okay? So that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions that you want me to answer, or comment below to let me know what you have planned for this Mercury retrograde. And if you enjoyed this video and want to delve deeper into astrology with me, you are welcome to join my fellowship for weekly or monthly emailed horoscopes, or you can get a reading from me, or you can join the free 9th house Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much again for being here, and I will see you next time. Hello, my Capricorns. Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your 9th house, so it's a very mental one for y'all. This is about school. This is about travel. This is about philosophies that you hold or beliefs that you hold. So thinking about going back to school or changing your education, a good time to explore that. It also might be extra busy at school, or you have a lot more assignments than usual and you feel bogged down. That's a possibility. Travel delays or travel changes, or traveling somewhere you have not been to in a while are all possibilities also. Thinking about what you truly believe in, digging deep into your core beliefs and philosophy, and adjusting where necessary. This is a good time to learn a new language or explore a new culture. It's a good time to deal with any legal matters if you are so unfortunate to have to be dealing with the legal system. But yeah, it's a very heady retrograde for y'all. It's very mental. It will require you to study in some fashion. But revisiting old perspectives is big too. So the other thing about this retrograde is that Mercury rules your 6th house too. So these topics will be getting a revisit or reval as well. Some sort of change with your work-life adjustment, with your daily routine, like asking you to, it will either ask you by forcing you, or you're just going to ask yourself without being forced. But are you happy with your work-life balance? Reflect and adjust where necessary. Or the retrograde will force you to do this. Same with a health check, considering a diet or exercise regime, or like, I don't even want to put it in like a weight loss type of thing. Like, it could just be you used to not eat red meat and now you eat red meat because you feel like that helps you or something like that. Or it could be you exercise too much and you realize that that's not been good for you, so you need to chill out. But also it could be that you need to move your body more, or you need to eat more broccoli. I don't know. But this is your health check, okay? I need you to check on your health so that Mercury retrograde doesn't force you to check on your health. So just apply that retrograde energy to something before it happens to you. Use it before it uses you. So check out your health. Find a healthier snack to eat, you know what I mean? To snack on. But yeah, overall, a daily routine revamp of some kind needs to happen during this retrograde. Whether it forces you by you finding a cat on the side of the road and now you have to feed a cat every day, which forces you to get out of bed even though you're depressed. I know that example was kind of crazy, but a revisitation of your routine, your daily habits needing a check, some sort of change to your daily task list is in the cards. Decluttering your workspace, decluttering your house, decluttering your car are all possibilities also. Like, you might lose something that you can't find and you need. So this requires you to declutter your entire desk. That's a Mercury retrograde. Doing something for the good of the realm, but it being a pain in the ass for you. So Mercury retrograde is a process. It's from August 23rd to September 15th. It's not a one-day thing. It's a time to explore, understand, adjust. Trial runs are welcome during retrogrades in my book. In other people's books too. I'm not the only astrologer who says this. I would actually like to have a debate with another astrologer who disagrees with me on this, but trial runs are welcome. Use this retrograde to try new things without committing to them permanently. If you are ready for a permanent change, a retrograde could be a good time to make it by letting the retrograde period be the transitional phase to adapt to the new thing. So that means that during the Mercury retrograde, I don't recommend an idea pop into your head and you immediately apply that idea during the retrograde. I don't necessarily recommend that, depending on what it is. Like, if it's just a little project, like, but big events, I mean. Anyway, but yeah, generally reorganizations, redos, recalibrations, reviews, reevaluations are all things that happen. Whether you decide to use this energy and do it yourself, or the universe seeing you not doing any of this and forcing your hand, to say the least, is up to you. Not completely. I don't know about fate, but we can definitely use some of the retrograde energy before it uses us. So reevaluate. So what can you expect? What are some things you can expect with this retrograde? Unexpected travel opportunities or unexpected travel obstacles might come up. Education, busyness, courses, workshops, or degrees may call your attention more. Philosophical insights or spiritual or magical insights also. Deeper thinking, shifts in beliefs. This is a big part of it too. And health, daily routine, and work adjustments, your daily routine, your daily wellness practices need reevaluations and reorganizations and dialing in. And just in general, organizing things. It's time for a clean sweep. Organizing what needs to be organized will be supported. So like the corner of the garage you haven't touched, or the desk drawers that are full of things that you don't know what they're full of, the junk drawers, your filing cabinet, etc. So how can you make the most of it besides taking advantage of, organizing? Stay flexible. Traveling and education topics might require agility for the next 3 weeks. So have a plan, but also be ready to adapt and don't be crushed if things change. Just know Mercury retrograde is working its magic. I recommend reading books, taking courses. I recommend spending some time really understanding what you believe in. Reading reading more books on that. Revisiting your wellness routine. Serving other people, volunteering or helping others can be really good with this retrograde also. But organize with intent. I know I've been talking about organizing. Decluttering isn't just physical. You can organize your thoughts at the same time you are organizing your space. So if you are dealing with legal situations or paperwork, documents, double check them. Double check your agreements. Double check your documents, your contracts. There will be typos. There will be mess ups. Double check all of that for the 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde. So that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions, or comment below to let me know what you're expecting to come up for this Mercury retrograde, or what you're planning to use this Mercury retrograde for before it uses you. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you want to go deeper into astrology with me, you can join my fellowship for personalized horoscopes, or you can book a one-on-one consultation with me for an astrology reading. Or, of course, you are welcome and invited to join the free 9th House Discord server to chat tarot and astrology with an amazing community of people. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Hello, my Aquarius besties. Mercury will be stationing in your 8th house. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. These themes are around transformation and intimacy and vulnerability, as well as resources and money. So what are some themes that come up with this? Feeling things more intensely during the retrograde is definitely possible with it happening in your 8th house. Reviewing shared finances or shared bills with somebody is in order. Dealing with more intimate situations, whether that is emotional or physical, both are possible. What is it that you need to feel safer in relationships? That's something to consider. And feeling a shift in yourself in general. When the 8th house is involved, it's a transformational house. So you are going to be reflecting a lot during this retrograde. The other thing about this retrograde is that it affects your 5th house, because Gemini rules your 5th house. So we're having redos and reorganizations with the 5th house matters too, which is nice. It kind of sprinkles in some lightness to how heavy the 8th house is. But it can also... I swallow so much air. I'm always burping. Does anyone else burp constantly? I never see Ethan Klein burping on his podcast. I never see anyone else fucking burping on their podcasts. I digress. The 5th house, Mercury ruling your 5th house, means revisitations and redos having to do with romance, creativity, hobbies, or your children if you have any. So dust off that paintbrush, pick up a new creative outlet. You might be more interested in an old project that you left alone Exes might be coming out of the woodwork. Figuring out what you need in love and with passion is supported. So the universe might provide situations where you are forced to reflect on that. But rediscovering your old hobbies or finding new hobbies is supported too. The fifth house is a fun house. So you can like lighten up and just play with things without it being that serious. So you might be dealing with more children than the norm, or you might be feeling more expressive. You might be more interested in TV and shows and video games and content on TikTok. You might be more interested in that sort of stuff, or watching older stuff from the past, and asking you to review your romance, creativity, and hobbies. So Mercury retrograde is a process. So it goes from August 23rd to September 15th. And it's a time to explore, understand, and adjust. And there's not necessarily a one-time event happening that's going to be the retrograde event necessarily. That can be for some people, but not everyone. So I like to say that trial runs are a great thing to do with Mercury retrograde. Retrogrades are a great time to try new things without committing to them permanently. If you are looking to make some sort of permanent, significant change, a retrograde can be a good time to make it, despite what other people say, other astrologers say, who I would like to debate about this subject. But letting the retrograde be a transitional phase to adapt to the new is also an applicable way to use this retrograde. So what can you expect from this retrograde? Reorganizations, redos, recalibrations, reviews, reevaluations, all the re's, and diving deep into feelings, fears, or desires in some fashion. I recommend, actually, I'll get into that. Okay. Checking in with your finances. Maybe a surprise bill comes up or a surprise check comes in the mail. Dealing with creative and romantic waves. Your creative and romantic sides might be calling, and you should listen to them during this retrograde. It's happening on purpose. So the 8th house also asks you to review or recalibrate your level of intimacy with certain people. What does intimacy mean to you in the relationship? What can you do to be more vulnerable and to connect deeper with who you need to connect with? The retrograde asks that of you. And just personal shifts and personal changes are happening. The other thing I want to mention, for those of you who are partnered, since Mercury is stationing in your 8th house, the 8th house can often mean your partner's stuff, shared resources, your partner's resources. The 1st house rules you. The 2nd house rules your stuff. Opposite of the 1st house is the 7th house, rules the other person, and their 2nd house is the 8th house, which is their stuff. So your partner might be going through a lot or dealing with a lot, or extra buzz brain, or you're just focusing more on your partner's life for the moment. So how can you make the most of it? I recommend using the retrograde before the retrograde uses you. So, for example, if the Mercury retrograde is asking you to dive deep and transform and connect deeper with your vulnerability and intimacy and those scary 8th house things that you don't want to look at. If you are being called to do that and you don't heed the call, then the universe will bring up things and reasons for you to do so. And that's usually a lot harder. So I recommend diving into it before it dives into you, which means exploring your depths on purpose. Get to know your deeper self on purpose. That means journaling every day, if you don't journal every day already, or booking an appointment with a counselor or a therapist, focusing more on healing and vulnerability. But there's also the financial thing, right? There's also the material and financial thing. So reviewing joint bills is a good way to I don't know, check all the boxes, I should say, dot all your I's, cross all your T's. And nurture your creativity on purpose. Embrace your artistic side. This can be a more pleasant way to use the retrograde. Whether it's a new sort of creative thing that you want to do or an old one. Also, focus on romance and relationships, love, whether it's rekindling a flame or finding out what you really want in a relationship is supported. Exploring that, reading books relevant to that, spending time with children, engaging with kids you know, or engaging with your inner child. Play, explore, learn yourself, apply that so that you can have a more fun retrograde. And of course, communicate openly, make wise investment decisions, find your balance between love and play and work, and embrace the changes that come. And make sure the changes are aligning with who you want to be. So, that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions you want me to answer, or comment below, let me know what you're expecting to happen for this Venus or Mercury retrograde. Let me know how you think it's going to be applied so that it doesn't happen to you and you just use it. Do the transit before the transit does you, okay? So if you enjoyed this video and want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember that my fellowship offers personalized weekly and monthly horoscopes. If you would like to book a reading with me, that is possible on my website. And of course, you are invited to join the free 9th House Discord server, and we talk astrology and tarot and all sorts of fun things in there. So, hope to see you there. Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate y'all, and I'll see you next time. Hello, Pisces. Mercury will be stationing in your 7th house, which is a pretty big one for y'all. So this brings up themes around relationships, partnerships, agreements, contracts. And so this can bring up reevaluations within relationships. So if you're partnered, there could be some changes happening in your partnership or with your partner, and you guys are working through that together. Or it could be exes coming out of the woodwork, your ex-lovers, your ex-besties, ex-clients even. The 7th house isn't only about romance, it's also it's one-on-one interaction. So whoever you are, your sidekick, like the one-on-one, like besties type of thing, that's why it can be your bestie. It can be your mom if you're hanging out with your mom all the time. It can be clients if you see clients one-on-one. So reevaluations with this. And Mercury also rules your 4th house. So 4th house reevaluations are also in the picture. That's home, family, roots, emotional security, and property and real estate. There may be some changes happening at home. There may be changes happening with your parents. There may be changes happening with your emotional foundation, your living situation. So dealing with issues with your living situation, dealing with issues with your family relationships, and maybe, issues with the home and real estate and property itself, and also roots and heritage and ancestry coming into play in some fashion. So Mercury retrograde is a process. It happens from August 23rd to September 15th. It is a time to explore and understand and adjust and allow for the time to be messy. Allow for it to be messy. It doesn't need to be all pretty in a bow or nothing during a retrograde. So I like to say that retrogrades are good for trial runs. I think retrogrades are a good time to try new things without committing to them permanently. Dialing things in. That's the thing. If you're ready for a permanent change, if you've been pondering this for a while, a retrograde is a good time to make a permanent change, as long as you didn't come up with the idea during the retrograde as well. You can do one or the other. You can use this retrograde to try new things without making it permanent, or you can use this time to make something permanent that you had considered already. It is a, let the retrograde be the transitional phase to adapt to the new thing, where you dial it in, you reorganize, like starting a job and setting up your desk, for example. It's not the first time you've set up a desk, most likely. So it's a redo, technically, even though it's a new desk. Or if you plan to cut your hair, get bangs, you're going to use this retrograde period to learn how to style them, because you probably won't know how right off the bat. Things like that. So overall, recalibrations, reorganizations, redos, reviews, etc. What can you expect? So you can expect relationship reviews, friendships, family, romance might need extra thought, extra drama happening with people. If you're dealing with any legal matters, be extra diligent because there could be some drama there. Are you happy? There could be drama at home. Are you happy at home? Consider what could, enhance your comfort, but no, there could be drama with your parents. There could be drama with your, maybe the toilet gets clogged. Like that's a fourth house Mercury retrograde thing too, or you have to deal with that where you thought it was over, but you have to revisit unclogging the toilet every 2 years or something. So yeah, shifts happening with your home, your private matters, your property, your family, and changes happening with, it's a very visceral one for y'all. It's very social also and very emotional. So how can you make the most of this Mercury retrograde? Have open conversations, talk openly, honestly in your relationships. Nurture your home in ways that can make you feel more cozy and more aligned with your needs. Spend more time bonding with family, your chosen family if you want. Bond, rebuild, or redefine your family connections. Know your worth in relationships. Reflect on your needs and your desires in your partnerships. Embrace your roots. Spit in a tube. Sign up for Ancestry.com. Emotional security is key. Explore your family history and your cultural heritage. And make smart home decisions. Financial or living arrangement changes might happen, so think it through thoroughly and know that you have time to make decisions. You don't have to make decisions right away. See, I like to talk about how to use a Mercury retrograde because I like to say, do the transit before the transit does you. This energy exists and it's up to you to direct it in a lot of ways. Not every way, but in a lot of ways. So instead of allowing some sort of drama to unfold at home, you can, focus more on creating a closer connection with somebody in your family, or proactively pour something down the toilet to make sure it doesn't clog. You know what I mean? Be proactive with these topics, and you'll see that things won't happen to you to make you reevaluate. So if you need to reevaluate some sort of family situation, do it so that something doesn't dramatically happen that requires you to do it. Do the transit before the transit does you. So that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below and let me know if you have any questions that you want me to answer. Comment below if you... Comment below and let me know what you're expecting to happen during this Mercury retrograde. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget that you can join my fellowship for weekly and monthly horoscopes. And if you want to book a reading with me, you can do so on my website. And lastly, you are invited to join the free 9th House Discord server where we chat tarot and astrology in a really cool, friendly community. So that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.